Headline. Okay, Yahoo News is a headline. At Karmelo Anthony trial, race takes center stage outside the courtroom. Get into that in a moment. But closing arguments starting tomorrow in the Karmelo Anthony trial. The now 19-year-old is accused of murdering 17-year-old Austin Metcalf. Remember, stabbing him to death at a track meet. That was after an argument over where he was sitting.
I see him running down the bleachers, grabbing his chest, just blood rushing out. He said, "Yo, you got stabbed, you got stabbed." I pushed my hand on there, trying to make it stop, and I grabbed his head and I looked in his eyes.
When I saw him on the gurney, he wasn't breathing. I knew he was gone. They were trying to revive him, and they took him to the ambulance and took him to the hospital.
That was a heartbreak. Now, Anthony's attorney says he stabbed Metcalf after being shoved, claiming it was self-defense. Okay. But today, a major blow from one of their own teen witnesses who said, quote, "I think Karmelo was in the wrong." And when prosecutors asked, did Karmelo Anthony provoke the confrontation? He answered yes. Meanwhile, tensions are building outside of the courthouse.
I'm going to push you if I get close enough. Push you right into that crack. Neanderthal, I don't give a what you say. Y'all you cracker, good crackers and dead crackers.
He was not an aggressor. Karmelo was not an aggressor. He was minding his damn business when the boys came up to him.
This is insane. The fact of the matter is, this is not a case based on race. The media know that, and I don't know if the people outside the courtroom know that, but it's absolutely insane. Now, facts don't matter here. Supporters of the defendant are obviously trying to make it a racial case, and the media at large is just going to ignore the facts. It's an inconvenient fact pattern. Here to discuss is Brian Claypool, criminal defense attorney. Brian, I was following some of the testimony today. This argument of self-defense seems absolutely ludicrous from the witnesses that, whose testimony was briefly reported. What is your view on that?
Hey, Laura, always a privilege to be with you. You're absolutely right, and here's why. In order to prove self-defense, Anthony's lawyers had to prove three things: that there was a reasonable threat. We think that's the case, right? Metcalf allegedly put his hands on him. It has to be an immediate threat, right? Looks like it was. But here's the one where he loses on self-defense. The measure of force that Anthony uses has to be proportionate to the force that Austin Metcalf was using. That is a game changer here, and he's going to lose on that. Why? You don't pull out a knife and stab somebody in the chest because somebody puts their hand on your shoulder or maybe your hoodie. Karmelo Anthony needed to testify. Laura, he had to testify in this case, or he was toast on self-defense. He had to look that jury in the eye and tell them why he brought a knife, right, to the track meet, and why it is that he pulled a knife out and stabbed Metcalf instead of walking away. This is a poster child case where the defendant needed to talk to that jury and tell them what was going through his mind at the time. He didn't, and he's going to pay the ultimate price now.
Now, he was asked to leave, according to testimony, multiple times and refused. And suddenly a knife was pulled out. I mean, we'll learn more perhaps, but the spokesman for the defendant is continuing to maintain that Anthony is the victim here. Watch.
There is no place for racism, bigotry, and white supremacy ideology in public discourse. I know there's both sides. I'm not trying to get into all of that, but I ask you, for the sake of Karmelo Anthony and whoever you are out here for, do it in peace. Do it in revolutionary peace. Do it as if your child was fighting for his life right now.
I don't know how he maintains his law license, but nevertheless, I guess he's just a spokesman. Brian, the victim card, the race card, I guess when you don't have the facts on your side, you throw down those.
Yeah, Laura, let me tell your viewers, in Texas, all you have to prove for felony first-degree murder, it's not like a lot of other states where you have to prove premeditation and planning out the murder. In Texas, all you have to prove is that the defendant intended to kill somebody or they intended to seriously harm the victim that led to their death. That's the law in Texas. And when you apply the facts in the case, or apply the law to the facts in this case, then you're left with no other conclusion than this was felony first-degree murder.
Yeah, and he admitted when he was arrested that he did it, and then he said he put his hands on me, but he said he did it. So, Brian, no proportional force, that's for sure. This was just the most heartbreaking situation, but a lot of tragedy out there. Brian, thank you.